welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Maggie. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my makeup basket for April. So I have here my makeup basket from March, and some of the things in here I'm going to keep working on and using. Some of them I'm going to kind of change out, and I do have a basket of new makeup that I want to kind of swap in. So I typically have done these videos kind of like with a bird's eye view, but I thought today I would change it up and like talk to you face to face and hold up the product, maybe give you some swatches and things like that. So I'm going to kind of organize this into face, eyes, and lips. And then also at the end talk about perfumes that I want to maybe like focus on for the season. So give me a minute to kind of organize out the face items because that's where we'll start. And then I'll let you know what I'm going to be rolling in and rolling out. Okay, so for face products, I'm going to start with primers. The primer I have been using and loving is the Too Faced Primed and Peachy primer. I am going to keep working on this and have this in my basket, but I'm going to add one more in, and that is the I Heart Revolution Strawberry Whip primer. This is very similar, but this one just has a little bit of a different kind of like tint to it and texture, but I find that I have the same results with it. So I just like to kind of play with both of these this month. This one, like I said, has a little bit of a tint. I do have a trip coming up to Arizona in April, so I'm hoping to get a little bit of color on my skin. So yeah, I just want to bring this one with a tint where maybe I don't have to wear foundation. This would be enough. So we'll see, but these are going to be the two primers that I work on in April. For foundation, I only had one in for March, and that is the CoverFX Powerplay foundation. This is in my project pan, which I am doing a rolling style project pan I can link for you. It's upside down because I'm trying to have all the product stay down here because it is a squeezy bottle. So that's why I'm holding it this way, but I am going to keep using this. I'm trying to use it up because it is my winter shade, but I am going to have just on backup if I need it my CoverGirl BB cream for oily skin. This is in the shade 510 Fair, which is not fair. It's like a light to medium shade CoverGirl, but this is something I can mix in if I need to deepen this a little bit. So I'm going to have both of these in my basket for April. For concealers, I only have two concealers, so I'm just going to keep on using them. I have this one from Essence, the High Beauty Under Eye Brightening Concealer. It has a little bit of like a peachier tone to help with the darkness that you can get under there. And then I also have the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This one I use on my spots if I have anything that, needs covering. But I also like this under the eyes. So going forward, once I finish this concealer, I don't know that I would repurchase it because this one works for both the face and under the eyes for me. But since I do still have them both, I'm going to keep using them both. Okay, for powder, I have one that I've been working on. It's the Too Faced Peach Perfect powder, and this is my favorite translucent, like loose setting powder. I have oily skin, so using a powder is part of my daily routine. It's something that I can't go without, really. So this is the one I'm using. I am going to bring one additional one in though. I have this one from CoverGirl. It's the Clean Matte Powder in the shade 510 Classic Ivory, so it has a little bit of a color to it. But I'm going to bring this with me on that trip because it is a little bit easier to travel with a pressed powder than a loose powder. Granted, both can be traveled with, but I think I just prefer to have this like on me, like in my bag or something, so I can touch up. I always get super oily when I travel. Like, my nose is so itchy. What is going on? I always get really oily when I travel, so I like to have something like this that I can just have in my purse with me. So these are going to be the two powders for April. For bronzer, I have one that I've been working on. It's the e.l.f. This is the Primer Infused Bronzer. I don't know what shade. I would presume one of the lighter ones, but I don't have any like sticker indication. But I do have obviously some pan on this. This is the bronzer I've been using for quite a while. And I think I'm going to give it a little bit of a break for April. So I am going to roll this out, and what I'm going to roll in its place is a little face palette. So this is new to me. It's from Physicians Formula. Quick story, in March I had a work trip where my bag was not like, it didn't make the connection from one flight to the other. So it was not there when I, arrived at my final destination in Minneapolis. So I had no bag. And so I got to go to Walgreens and pick up a couple of things that, you know, like skincare and a little bit of makeup that I needed to be able to still work and do my Zoom calls and all that while my bag was being shipped to me. So this is one of the things that I picked up, and I just got my reimbursement check from Delta. So this was free to me. Super fun. Anyway, Physicians Formula Glow Face Palette. So it has a bronzer, a blush, and a highlight in here. So I am going to use this as my bronzer this month. It has a little bit more of a sheen to it, which I think is really pretty for the springtime. And then I also have that blush and highlight in here that I'm going to let myself, you know, use and if I want to and all that. So I'm going to roll this in. So speaking of blushes, I currently was working on 2 different ones. My Hourglass Mood Exposure. This is a mini blush. This is in my project pan. I am almost done with it. As you can see there's a lot of that waffle plan showing. So my goal is to finish this up. So I'm going to keep this in my basket so that I use it and finish it up. And then the other blush I had in here was my ColourPop Fresh and Peachy blush. And this is more of a matte blush, but it's really, really pretty peach color. So I am going to roll this one out. I've had it in my basket for 2 months now. So I'm going to roll this one out. And then I do have one that I'm going to roll in. And this is also new to me. It's from Milani. This is going to kind of replace my Hourglass blush. They're both very nude, kind of satin blushes. So this one I want to have in my basket, so when this is done, I have this one ready to go. But this is the Romantic Rose Powder Blush, which I just think is so pretty. So I can give you, I guess, a little swatch here. That's it right there. So it's really soft, it's really light. I mean, you can definitely build it up if you wanted to, but yeah, that's going to be the new blush I bring in. For highlight, I have a cream highlighter that I'm working on. This is the Mini Milk Holographic stick. This is also my project pan. I have a use goal on this, so I'm not trying to like finish it up, but once I do finish that use goal and I use it the amount of times that I've set out to, then I will roll this out, but I have not reached that goal yet, so I need to keep it in my basket, so I'm using it. But then I also have the highlighter in this Physicians Formula little palette here, and I'm also going to keep in my Hourglass palette because I really like using this shade as my under eye like setting powder. And then I don't know that I'll use like the bronzer, the blush, or the highlight too much because I would like to kind of focus on those other ones. But if I wanted to use this highlight, it's a little bit more gold than the Physicians Formula one. So if I wanted to use it, that's fine because I'm going to keep this palette in my basket. Okay, and then my last face product is my setting spray. This is the NYX Bare With Me spray, except there's a little bit of the Milani Make It Last. I don't remember the name of it, but the Milani spray, there's a little bit of that mixed in here too. So this is the only setting spray I have at the moment, so it will stay in. This is the only setting spray I have at the moment, so it will stay in my basket until it's gone and I need a new one. Okay. So that was all of the face products. Next, we're going to move into eye products. Right off the bat, my eyeshadow primer is the Milani eyeshadow primer. It's the only one I have, so I'm obviously going to be keeping this in my basket. And then also my brow products are the same. I have the Milani Soft Brown like pomade, and then I also have the Essence Make Me Brow tinted and has like fiber mini gel. So these are the only 2 brow products I really have and use, so they're going to stay in my basket. For eyeshadows, I just filmed the eyeshadow roulette update. It's on my channel. I will link it for you. But when I do that project, I pick 4 shadows randomly to kind of focus and try to use. My goal is typically to try to use each shade 5 times because then it's not super overwhelming for me, and each month I roll out a new shade. So I did already roll, and I know what I need to be kind of focusing on, and I also got some new palettes that I want to kind of play around with. So I had in my basket from March the Anastasia Soft Glam 2. This is a fabulous mini palette. I actually hit pan and tempera. It only took me 12 uses because these are pretty soft shadows, but I really like them. But I'm going to roll this out. And then I also had been working on my Anastasia Sultry palette. this is a palette that I'd like to have in my basket pretty much at all times. I feel like it's a good go-to for me. It's also something that I'm trying to hit pan on a little bit more, and I might consider panning this whole palette next year. I'm not really sure yet, but yeah, I'm going to keep this in because I feel like it's just like a good go-to palette for my collection. So I'm going to keep that in. And then I also was working on two ColourPop palettes. I have the ColourPop Bare Necessities palette and the ColourPop Wild Nothing palette. So I did roll in shades from each of these palettes, and then I also picked out a couple others that I'm going to use this month, but I'm not going to keep the full palettes in. So I actually have this little Z palette here where I pulled out a couple of shades from both of them that I want to use, especially the ones that I pulled from my eyeshadow roulette, but then there's a couple others in here too. So this is what I'm going to be working on as far as ColourPop shadows. I'm going to put these away so they just take up a little bit less space, you know? And then I have two new palettes that I'd like to have in my basket and kind of play with. So the first one is the e.l.f. little bite-size eyeshadow quad, and this is the cream and sugar like version. So it's just a really cute neutral palette. I will probably bring this with me to Arizona when we go for our long weekend, just because it's really simple and like a good go-to. I'll probably also bring like this little quad, I'm thinking. I don't know what I'll bring. We'll figure that out when we get there. And then the other palette I have is brand new to me. This is from the brand ZC, and this is the Alice in Wonderland Pink Flamingo palette. The glitter moving around in there. How fun is that? So anyway, this is brand new to me. I just got it this week. And this is an 8-pan eyeshadow palette with 2 blushes, but of course you could totally use the blushes like on your eyes as well. So since this is new to me, I definitely want to play with it some more. It's very spring appropriate, and I'm just excited to have this. So I want to make sure that I get a chance to use it right away instead of just putting it away. So that's going to be it for the eyeshadows. And then for mascara, it is the change of a quarter. So I swap out my mascaras every quarter. So in the first quarter, I was using the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. This is really lovely. I would highly recommend checking this out. If you like the Essence / Princess Slash Effect with the teal writing, try this. You'll really like it. It has like a hourglass wand on it. It's really nice. I absolutely will repurchase this. But I actually picked out the CoverGirl Exhibitionist Uncensored Mascara, which I've only used it once. And the only difference right off the bat that I can tell is the shape of the wand. It's not that hourglass shape, but it still is a natural bristle wand. So I'm going to give this one a whirl and retire this one. This will go on my empties video. But this is going to be the mascara that I'm using. I probably will add in a waterproof mascara at some point during the next quarter to accompany this, because I live on a lake, so we'll be hopefully on the lake soon. That means summer's coming. So this is the only one I have right now, but I'm sure another mascara will find its way into my basket soon. So next we'll talk about lips, and then we'll move into perfume, and then we are all done. For lip products, I have a variety of things that I am going to carry over from March into April, and I'm going to add one in as well. So I have both a lip liner and a lipstick that I am trying to finish up in my project pan. So the lip liner is from Jordana. It's the Tawny shade. It's just a really pretty kind of medium pinky brown type of a shade. I have not a ton left, but you know, the only way to finish it is to use it. So that'll stay. And then I have my Ulta Beauty nude lipstick, and I don't have that much left of it, so I am going to keep that in. That's a swatch of it. It's just a perfect My Lips But Better type of a shade, so that's been really easy for me to use. I also have a liquid lipstick. This is also my project pan. This is from Bare Minerals. It's in the shade Boss, so I am trying to finish this one up and get some more use out of it before like it goes bad. So that's it swatched right there. So it's a little bit darker than the Ulta lipstick, but same kind of tone and like My Lips But Better type of a situation. So I think that should be fine. The lip gloss I've been kind of using here and there as I want. It's not actually in my project pan, is the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Creme Brulee. And I think I'm going to keep it in again for April just because it's such a nice, creamy, like topper. It can go on either of those, and it could go on top of the lip liner on its own. But it's also just a nice, like, spring color. So I would like to keep this in and keep using it. But I am going to add in one more lipstick. This is a new one to me. It's the CoverGirl Honeyed Bloom Cream Lipstick. So it looks like this. And it is a nice, like, light pink nude shade. So it's right here. So it's a little bit lighter than those two, but I think it would be nice to be able to mix them to have a little bit of a lighter lip as we're getting into the springtime. So since this is a cream lipstick formula, I think it'll pair nicely, especially with the other Ulta lipstick. I'm sure I can mix those pretty evenly on my lips and get a nice look. So that's going to be the lip product situation there. And then, of course, the lip balms that I use every day, like the one next to my bed and the one in my purse and the one by my skincare and all that, will be regular use. So the last section we have to talk about is perfume, and the two that I was working on last month are the two that I'm going to stick with for April. So those are the Yves Saint Laurent Black Opium. I love this perfume. As you can see, I have used a decent amount, and now I have a little bit of a window in here. I just love this perfume. It has like kind of a grounding base to it, which is a good complement to the other perfume. This one is my Hane Marie Butterfly perfume, and I'm trying to use this one up because I only have about half of it left. So this will probably be the perfume I bring with me traveling because it's so little, a little roller ball. But this is a very bright, fruity, floral scent. Like, it's definitely a contrast to the YSL. They're both obviously really great, and I love them both. But that's why I want to keep this pair still, because on days where I'm, wanting to go really bright, I can use this. And on days where maybe I don't want to go so bright, I can use this, and I still have something kind of to fit either mood that I'm in. So both of these were in March, and I'm going to keep them in April. So this is what my basket looks like with all that stuff piled in. But I can say I have absolutely loved having a makeup basket. Again, especially for the month, it's just easy to have everything picked out. When I get ready in the morning, I kind of pull everything out that I want to use, and I can just dump it back in. I don't really have to worry about it being too organized. I don't really have to make a lot of decisions on what kind of makeup I want to use, because I typically just have like one or two options. Okay, actually I have like 3 or 4 options, but it's not like I'm looking at my whole collection, especially with palettes and like blushes. I don't have to say, okay, well, I've used this one too many times and now I need to use this one. It's kind of like giving myself permission to use the products in my basket as frequently as I'd like for the month. And then next month I can see how I feel. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you prefer this format or the overhead format, where I just like show the products. I'd be interested to know, I guess, if you have a preference or if you don't really care. This is a little bit easier for me to film, but the overhead is kind of fun too. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I appreciate you taking some time to watch this video. I'll see you guys in my next one.